Hello, Coach K here. I am making a vegan ceviche. This is inspired by a restaurant I visited recently here in Colombia, and someone else on my Coach K, a follower of Coach K's Healthy Living, was inspired to make her own version. So then I thought, you know what, I'll do the same thing. So I am headed to hang out with some new friends of ours. And when I asked what I could bring, she said, well, I know you're vegan, so why don't you bring something that, celebrate a vegan dish with us. So I'm always up for a challenge. Here goes. I was going to do some kind of bean dip, but then I decided I would keep it even simpler, and I couldn't really find the exact ingredients I needed for that. And so here we go, all right? So what we're putting in here, and again, I want you to get the concept of what I'm doing, and then you can do your own thing. But it's basically an assortment of chopped vegetables coming together, okay? So here in this bowl, this is how I wash my veggies and set things up for myself. These veggies are soaking in a mixture of water and this Thieves Young Living fruit and veggie soak, which is amazing. All right, so these are soaking in there. And then I have some red onions I'm going to add, hearts of palm, which I was super excited to find last night. Great texture there. Olives, chickpeas and mushrooms, garlic, lime, okay? Forgot to take my garlic out of here. Now, I'm creating this on the fly. So any measurements that you see, everything is happening here. I'm just kind of throwing it together, and I'm gonna look at the amounts of what I have of everything and then adjust from there, okay? And then, if I like the taste of it, I'll turn it into a recipe. But in the bowl is cherry tomatoes or some kind of small plum tomato. There is lettuce in there, which I'm going to use as the base in the bottom of my dish here. I'm going to put some lettuce at the bottom. Sheridan inspired this recipe, or inspired me to go ahead and recreate. I'm gonna put the lettuce in the bottom of this, and then I'm gonna put all the fresh chopped veggies on top of it, and then I'm serving it with tortilla chips. Okay. All right. So let's jump in because my taxi will be here soon, and I have to go. So I'm gonna be dumping it all in this bowl just as I chop. Now, if you're doing ceviche like professionally, they want everything should be evenly diced. Same dice. So I don't have my gorgeous knife from my home in Atlanta. It got lost in the move. Some of you may or may not know that we are now living in Colombia, and I am missing that knife dearly. Having a good knife, y'all, makes all the difference in your chopping, okay? It just makes a world of difference. I'm gonna take this down a little bit smaller. So I'm really suffering here without having a really good knife. We're in an Airbnb apartment, and it's just not the same as home. So I don't have, I'm still working on really fine tuning my setup here. Okay, so I bought this beautiful white dish last night just to have something pretty to display this and other recipes in. So I'm dicing up the onions. I want to go small on these because who wants to bite into a big piece of onion? But you do need it in there for flavor, y'all. I think so. All right, now that's in. Let's take a look at a couple other pieces and make sure they are small enough. Now, if this was a cooking video like for my rebirth crew, I would probably have all this pre-chopped. But since I was going to make this anyway, and I've been promising you guys a live video for a long time, I decided to go ahead and just do it on camera. So welcome to a little bit of my crazy here. Okay, so that's about how much onion I have in there now. I'm gonna add just another half of this one and see how that looks. Okay. All right, turn it, want it to be very small. Everything I'm putting in here is gonna be very small, thinking about the chip that it's going to go on top of, okay? And this is so much lighter than the dip that I was thinking of before, and easier because once I finish chopping everything in here, it's done, okay? All right, so I did that. I'm gonna go ahead and, wait, let me do my garlic first. This is totally optional. You could also do shallots, and if you follow Dr. Ceviche strictly, you could do shallots with a bit of ginger powder or some fresh ginger grated in with it, okay? And it would give you a flavor that is similar to garlic. Now, if you have a garlic press, that would be much easier because you would get your garlic really mashed down and a lot smaller than what I'm able to do here. Somebody somewhere is going to end up with a mouthful of garlic and then probably want to come talk to me and have a conversation. Ha ha ha. Okay. So I got that in there. I'm just going to leave that at 1 clove. Okay, I'm going to add my mushrooms. Mushrooms is a great substitution for meat in a dish like this, but you want them chopped up really small. And some of these stems I'm going to pull off and transfer to my garbage bag over here just because I don't like them. But you could save these and use them to make a vegetable broth with. Just literally simmer it in some water with onion and you got yourself a broth, okay? Nothing complicated there. All right, but I dice these up small because I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, period. Although I do eat a lot of them now because I've learned how to prepare them, but I definitely don't like them raw, okay? So I want them to be so small that I'm getting a little bit of the texture. Sorry for the mess, y'all. Like I said, you're watching me cook basically live as I get ready to go somewhere. So again, I want these almost so small that no one knows there's mushrooms in there, but they're still getting the texture. Oyster mushrooms would be an excellent substitution in here in place of these. Those are just very hard to find here in Medellin, so I'm just using regular mushrooms. Okay, so here we go. That's small enough right there. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to visit a store here and find a really good knife to replace the one that I hope I left at my mother's house. It was a Cutco knife, and I just had it resharpened, y'all, and it was just the perfect size. It wasn't as big as this one, so it was just easier to chop. But I did go out and get this cutting board because the one that was here was just no bueno. Okay. All right, so now we have our onion, garlic, and mushrooms in here. I'm not going to use the rest of these mushrooms. I'm going to set those to the side and see how my quantities are working, okay? Now the chickpeas I'm going to put in here whole. All right, if you want to keep this all raw, you would not put chickpeas in, okay? All right, let's give this a stir. I just like to stir as I go. Oh, I already had a spoon out. Because it gives me, stirring gives me an idea of, do I need more onion? Do I want to go ahead and add the rest of those mushrooms? How am I looking? This is not a chickpea dish. Okay. Let's see here. I think my driver might be here a little sooner than I thought. Let's go ahead and get moving on this. All right, so I'm going to add 4 hearts of palm. Hearts of palm, I'm telling you guys, they're so good. They have a very mild flavor. If you've never tried them before, look for them at your grocery store, because they are really tasty and fantastic just added to your salad. Okay, let's move that off. Okay, and I'm gonna dice these up just one more time to get them down a little smaller. Okay. Now, again, perfect ceviche, the dicing should be even. Everything should look like it's the exact same size. So I'm just giving you the technique, even though Coach is not following it today because I'm in a rush. Okay, and you may not care if you're just making it for you, you know, to take with your lunch for your lunch this week. You're not going to care if it's perfectly sized or not. Now, how do I know this will all go together? Well, they're vegetables, so they're all going to go together. I wish I had a red bell pepper because that would be great in here. You could add a red bell pepper in, yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper. All of those would work. You could add a touch of zucchini. Diced zucchini. See how much of a mess I'm making here with this cutting board. Okay. So that's in. Okay. I'm gonna move that to the side. Drop these pieces in. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse off my tomatoes. And go ahead and dice those and add those in. I washed an entire container of them, but I'm just gonna rinse off this handful first. All right, and drop those in. You need tomatoes. I would definitely say that. You definitely want to have some tomatoes in here. And I just diced it into 4 like that. Okay, and by the time I arrive at her spot and this sits out, you know, it'll be a good 30 minutes it will sit. That really gives time for the flavors to come together. And it's gonna be good, y'all. And you don't need a lot of seasoning in this. You know, it's okay to eat light and fresh all the time, or sometimes. And you don't have to have a heavy meal every single time that you eat. Okay, you can just eat something that's light and refreshing. We eat so much bread, so much starch, so much heavy food. Yes, so yeah, I may add more hearts of palm. You can always add, but you can't take away. So because I have the whole can of chickpeas, I probably will, because it's not my intention that this be a chickpea thing. I just added the chickpeas for a little more hardiness. Okay, and it's also going to make its own juice because of the water from the tomatoes. Okay, and the cucumbers also bring a little bit of water to the party. Okay, one more tomato. And you could use the little cherry tomatoes and just dice them in half. That would be totally fine. Next, I'm going to add my cucumber. Coming to the home stretch here, y'all. If you move quickly, you can be done in no time. Set this to the side, and I'm going to rinse off my cutting board here very quickly, because I've made a colossal mess right here. Okay, let's wipe our counter down. Okay. All right. Okay. So for your cucumber, I love cucumbers. Eat one every day if you can. They are full of water, very hydrating, great for your skin. Okay, just for look, I'm taking a little bit of peel off as I go. All right, and bada boom. Uh-oh, trying to get away from me. Okay, I just thought of another little seasoning I am gonna add, just a splash of, so I'll show you guys that in a second. Now, I just realized with this cucumber, I would rather take the seed out of the middle, but today I'm just gonna go for it. I was working all morning, and so I'm a little behind getting started on this. All right, a little bit of this off. Totally optional, you can leave it on if you wish. Now let's just give it a chop. But what's really gonna set this off, y'all, is the fresh herbs. Fresh herbs, which if you use herbs like cilantro, parsley, not expensive at all. In fact, this whole salad is cheap. Okay, not expensive to do. All right, now let's give it a stir. Let me see how my quantities of everything looks. Okay, again, this is recipe creation. So I am going to go ahead and add the rest of my hearts of palm and the rest of my mushrooms. Because again, this is not a chickpea salad, and that's overwhelmingly what it looks like in there. These, I'm gonna leave whole like that. Okay, just to compete with the size of the chickpeas. Okay. There. And the hearts of palm is a great imitation for a seafood. All right. Let's go ahead and dump our mushrooms on here. We're almost done, y'all. Almost done. After this, I just have our fresh herbs, lime, a little bit of salsa. And with the salsa, I may not need the other seasoning that I have in mind. But I have to see. I don't know how spicy this salsa may be. So it's just gonna depend. You don't want your flavors to compete with each other. And I'll show you a little trick that you can do when you want to add a new seasoning, but you're in doubt about whether or not it will complement your recipe. Okay? All right? Okay, dump that in. Okay. All right, now for our fresh herbs, we have our dill here. I'm putting this in because I had it and it was inexpensive. All fresh herbs go together, y'all. They all go together. Dill can overpower, so you may not want to do too much of that. Okay, and then I have parsley and cilantro. Where did my cilantro go? I think it's mixed in here with this. Okay, so cut that stem off. Chop the rest of that up. Take out any pieces that don't look great. Okay? So you can, if you don't like cilantro, don't add it. I definitely want you to leave the parsley in there though. Also with cilantro and parsley, particularly parsley, you can go a little heavier on that great flavor. That flavor is going to be great in there. All right, let me rinse off my limes. Now, to get more juice out of your lime, mash down and roll. Okay? Mash down and roll. I forgot my olives. I just noticed they're sitting there staring at me. Oops. Gotta rinse that one again. Okay. that, then I can squeeze my lime juice in here. Okay, ceviche is heavy on the lime, so I definitely want both of these limes. And I might even add a third one. The lime also takes the place of the need to add a ton of salt. Okay. We want lots of it though. Get all that lime juice in there. Okay. Go, 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 go. I am going to invest in a citrus squeezer, y'all. Yes, I am. Okay. So, here's where we are so far. I'm going to give this a stir. Okay. Boom. Now, you could be done at this point. All right. I'm going to add the olives, but I'm not going to do a ton. As a matter of fact, I'm going to taste one first. Okay. Because I had some olives here the other day that did not taste like olives I'm used to. And I was not too thrilled. But these are pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and dump these in. Okay. I'm just going to give them a rough chop. So if I was on a cooking show competition, they would really get me for this. The judges would be saying, look how she's chopping up those olives. That is unacceptable. Like, you could get chopped, unchopped for improper cuts. You know, it not being uniform. Even if your flavor was great, I guarantee you there's one judge that would have something to say about that. And even the way I'm holding the knife. But they're not here. You and I are. It doesn't really matter that much. So we're going to drop that in. Okay. Boom. Okay, that's it. That's everything. We're done. We're almost done, rather. Let me get the salt. Let's do a liberal pinch of salt. Got my Colombian salt here. All right, and I am just going to do about this much, a little bit more. I'm gonna add my salsa. Doesn't smell spicy, y'all. Doesn't smell spicy. Let's dump in there about that much. Okay, now let's give this a stir. I would love to add avocado in here, but I went to the grocery store last night and the avocados were very hard. So, I mean, this would be so perfect with some really good avocados. Okay, let's give it a taste. I think I'm gonna add a couple more tomatoes. Where's my salsa spoon? I'm gonna add another hit of salsa there, just for good measure. Give it a stir with that, and then I'm gonna taste it with the salsa. I'm telling y'all, you don't need much. That is so flavorful. Okay, it's time. There's a fly following me in here. Let me get the counter cleared off. And it is that heavy lime that just takes away the need for tons of salt. All right, we're gonna put this together in our dish here. Just got a flyaway mushroom in it. Okay, I have my lettuce rinsing from earlier. My driver is here, so I'm really under the gun. Hopefully my family is ready to go. All right, so I'm gonna take my lettuce here, give it a rinse and dry it off. All right, now you want to dry off your lettuce. Driver's here. Okay, you want to dry your lettuce off. Driver is here. All right, so I'm drying this with paper towel. The reason why you want to do this, y'all, is because if you don't dry your lettuce off, it will just be very wilty, okay? So here we go. And I'm gonna give it another dry. I had a salad spinner, but I could not bring it with me. Highly recommend you use those. A few pulses in your salad spinner and it's done, okay? Look at that. Look at how beautiful this already looks. Some of these pieces turned a little strange when I put them in the water to wash, so I'm picking those out. This is love. This is love right here. Nobody's gonna die from eating that, but it's not pretty. So why would you serve it, even to yourself? Okay, let's take those pieces out that don't look great. And you know, I'm making a first impression on some new friends. So, and it's vegan, so you gotta try a little harder, you know? Make sure everything is on point. Okay? We looking good so far? Okay, I'm gonna dry this out just a little bit more. Okay. Wow, I love this white dish. This was so perfect. All right, so this is it. All we're doing now is pouring our salad on top. Come on, somebody. Can somebody say amen? Can somebody say, Coach K, that looks delicious? I mean, seriously, like, I have outdone myself today. All right. There you have it, okay? I'm gonna chop up a few more tomatoes before I go and add those joints to the top. Look at that, look at that, look at that, people. Look at that, look at that. Okay, and it didn't need a lot. It's really the lime, the fresh herbs, just that little pinch of salt. Okay. So I'm just gonna add a little more fresh tomato to the top, and this will be done. Okay. Then I can clean up this crime scene that just happened in here. Let's get a few more tomatoes going. See how you didn't even need a recipe for that? You really don't. I promise you, you don't. You need to add whatever veggies you have will go together in this. If you have questions about the veggies you have and you wonder if it will work, comment with that and I will let you know. But this is good, this is filling, this is fresh. Here in Medellin today, it is about 80-something degrees. So it's perfect weather for something like this. Okay. Let's do 2 more tomatoes. All right, and just as a reminder of the ingredients I used hearts of palm, mushrooms, chickpeas, olives, tomatoes, onions, 1 clove of garlic, and I just put them in there until I got the quantity of everything that I wanted. That's why I'm adding a few more tomatoes here, just to even that part out. Look at that, y'all, look at that. And I got some more fresh herbs that are still in my wash water, I showed you guys. So I'm gonna add those to the top. Okay, here we go, right here. Look at that. Don't let him swim if he keeps talking back. Sorry, guys. He's not going in the pool right away. He doesn't understand that. Okay, so here we go. All right. And there we have it, you guys. And this will go perfectly with my tortilla chips. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're inspired to try your own dish, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.